particular aspect of data analytics project lifecycle. So here we have successfully seen that with the help of these 5 stages, the data analytics project is completed. So we begin with the identification of the problem, then we design the data requirements, then we pre-process that data. Then once we have done the cleaning of the data, once that data comes into a proper format, uh, processable format, then we are going to perform the analytics over the data, and lastly we are going to visualize that data using, again, there are a number of readily available packages in the R language, and we are going to use those packages for doing this complete task. Okay, so this is just overview of the step 1 we have seen in detail yesterday only. Identification of the problem, then we are going to design the data requirements, pre-processes the data so that it can be uploaded into the Hadoop distributed file system, that is HDFS, then performing the analytics over the data, and then lastly the visualization of the data. Okay, now we are going to see today how we can deal with the data analytics problem. So for that purpose, we are going to specifically look into one or two problems, and one of them is how we can do the web page categorization. As yesterday we have discussed that depending upon the analytics, we can easily deal with the categorization of the pages. The pages which are going to get visited frequently, those pages we can separately categorize. The pages which are very few visitors are visiting to those particular web pages, we can improve upon the whatever the content, or optimize that those web pages which are not so popular from our website. Okay, so that kind of problem we are going to see how we can deal with this type of problem with the help of the data analytics. Okay, so this data analytics problem is designed to identify the category of the web page from a particular website, which may categorize popularity wise high, medium, or low based on the visitors count of the each page. Okay, so basically we are going to see how we can categorize these pages, and wherein there is a requirement of improvement or to all those web pages, that we are going to see. So this particular problem, you can see graphical way that these are set of your web pages. Suppose these are again the standard pages that any of the website will have: home page, then about us, contact, product, support, and services. Suppose these are the web pages which are there. Now by doing the analytics, and particularly we will be trying to use the Google Analytics, we will categorize these web pages into high, medium, or low popularity categorization. Okay, so as you know, the home page, basically every website will land into the home page. So maximum time anyone who is visiting our website will obviously be visiting the home page, and that is why home page is there in the high popularity categorization. But at the same time, we have the support, contact us, or about us. These pages are having a low popular categorization. Okay, and the service and product pages will have the medium. Now we need to categorize these web pages automatically depending upon how many number of visitors are visiting to our website. Okay, so the step one, as we have already discussed the general scenario yesterday in yesterday's lecture. The first one is to identify the problem. So as this is a web analytics problem, the goal is to identify the importance of web pages designed for the website. Based on this information, the content, design or visit of the lower popular pages can be improved. So here our goal is to improve those pages wherein there is very few number of visitors or very low number of visitors are visiting to these pages, so as to see what are the chances of improving those pages. Okay, so that once we know that there is a scope of improvement, these are the web pages that people are reluctant to view from our website, then there is a scope of improvement. How we can increase the popularity of those web pages, that kind of thing can be the problem. So the first step is to identify the problem. Okay, if you can remember, the first step is identification of the problem. Now once we know the problem, then we will be able to design, and ultimately we will be doing something to solve the problem before us. Okay, so that is one thing, that the first step is to identification of the problem. Then second is designing the data requirement. Now here we will be working with the data requirement as well as the data collection for the data analytics problem. Okay, so first of all, we will be see what can be achieved from this problem, what are the how the requirements of data can be achieved. Okay, so how we need to do, we are going to use the Google Analytics data source, because that Google Analytics data source will give us insight into how these web pages are getting viewed, which kind of people are uh, viewing our web pages, and all those things that can be done automatically with the help of the Google Analytics, and that is how we are going to design the data requirement. Okay, so basically we are going to collect the data from the Google Analytics, and we need to have the existing Google Analytics account for to get the web traffic data source onto it. Okay, so whatever data that is getting stored on the Google Analytics account, that we will be using for this, wherein this will satisfy our step 2. From here, this will satisfy our step 2. So identification of the problem, then designing the data requirement. So here in the web categorization, web page categorization problem, we are going to deal with the data collection from the Google Analytics. So, and for that purpose, you need to have your own Google Analytics account, wherein Google will store all the data related to your website as to which pages are getting viewed, how many visitors are there, from which geographical locations the particular web pages are getting viewed, what is the gender of the visitor, what is the age group of the visitor, and all those things can be collected with the help of the designing the data requirement. So here we are going to rely completely on, to solve this problem, we are going to completely rely on the Google Analytics. Okay, so that is web analytics problem. So that purpose we are going to rely on the Google Analytics account within the web traffic, wherein you are web traffic data is stored onto it. Now, what is stored over there? The header format of the data set that is to be extracted from the Google Analytics will store the date, the source, page title, page path, and all other relevant fields will be there. So on what date a particular web page is getting visited, how many users are visiting those web pages, what is the source of the visitor, from which destiny which particular source he is going to visualize your data or website, what is the web page title those web pages are visualized by the particular person, and what is the complete path of that web page, that is the URL. Okay, now next we know that once we know that our data will be there with the Google Analytics, we need to use the R Google Analytics, which is a R library for extracting the Google Analytics data within R. Now see, we have readily available data. Once we know that the data set is already available, then next step is to extract those data, because until and unless you will extract the data, you will not be able to pre-process the data. Because here, if you remember, here our next step is to pre-processing of the data. So how you will be in a position to pre-process the data? Until and unless you have the access to that data, and to get the access of those data, you need to download that particular kind of data from the Google Analytics account into the readily available. There are a number of packages available with R, wherein we can manipulate or pre-process that downloaded or collected data. So we are quietly moving towards the step 3, that is pre-processing of the data. So for that purpose, we are going to rely on the R library, which is there to deal with the Google Analytics data. Okay, so to extract data, you need to need this plugin to be installed in R, and then you will be able to use these functions. So these are the readily available packages. You need to install them, and those kind of plugins are readily available, wherein by installing those plugin with the R environment, you will be able to use the Google Analytics data in the form of functions which are readily available in the R language. Okay, so that is there. Now next is our pre-processing of the data. Now once you have the raw data from the Google Analytics, that is in the comma separated version, the so .csv file will be there. So we need to pre-process this data before providing it to the map reduce algorithm. So ultimately we are going to do the map reduce thing, and map reduce से हमें क्या पता लगेगा कि we will be able to categorize whether a particular web page is highly popular or whether it is the web page popularity is very low, so that we can improve that particular web page. So there are two main changes that needs to be done into the data set, and that is why this step is known as a pre-processing of the data. So we are going to manipulate the data, we are going to change the data, we are not going to use the data as it is downloaded from the Google Analytics, because the map reduce algorithm will require the data in a particular format. If and only if we are providing that data in that particular format, then and only then there are chances that this map reduce algorithm will will try to solve our problem. Okay, so these are the changes that you need to do. The first is you need to remove the that is page path as follows. So you need to do this thing, that is you need to remove the complete page path, because as we know that here we know that we are collecting the page path. Okay, so this is the URL of the web page. So complete page तक का path यहाँ पे store करके मिलेगा. Now we are going to deal with this that manipulation of this page path will be done over here, and then the new CSV file needs to be created as follows. So you are going to say that the particular data source and page path will be there, and then you are going to rewrite that data with the help of write.csv function, which is available in the R language. So this write.csv is a function wherein you are providing the particular data in the form of data frame, and then you are going to give the file name, and then the row names will be nullified over here, so that you can have that data in a particular format. Then lastly, we are going to visualize it. Okay, so we have collected the web page categorization output using the three categories, and the best thing that we can do is simply list the URL. But if you have more information such as source, we can represent the web page as nodes of the graph colored by the popularity with the directed edges when users follow the link. So